Thank you, Akemi. Okay, let's get to it. I've been looking forward to this discussion, and I hope you've been enjoying the photographs behind us here and seeing all the images that have been flashed up here. As we put this together, the intent here was to demonstrate that in many ways this is a very ordinary Japanese-American family, but at the same time a very extraordinary Japanese-American family. And I know as I look at these images, I see parts of my family and parts of my history in these images because we share that common bond. But also I'm interested in hearing what their particular story is as a family who has affected history, but a family who's been affected by history. Let's get right into it, and let me introduce to you who the panelists are. We have Aiko Herzig-Yoshinaga, and Aiko really needs no introduction in the Japanese-American community. As indicated in the program, she has played a major role in the redress movement. She certainly was the backbone to the Quorum Novus cases. She was the backbone to the NCJAR class action suit, and she was the backbone to the CWRIC commission hearings in finding all of the detailed archival data upon which these cases and the findings of the commission were based. So clearly an icon in our community, a person, if any of you received the redress checks, an apology, certainly Aiko played a major, major role in that. But she's also a mother and a grandmother, and we hope to see that side of her today. We have Lisa Furutani, who is the daughter of Aiko. And Lisa was born in Kyoto, Japan. And she is then by definition, I guess, a sansei, but because you were born in Japan, having a different experience there. And helped to raise two sons here in Gardena, California. We have Warren Furutani, who is technically a yonsei, and who is a community activist extraordinaire. And for Akemi's story about hearing you when she was in college, I can top that. I was a 15-year-old freshman at Markeppel High School when this man gets up on stage, starts talking in a way that I heard no other Japanese-American man ever talk before. Talked about reaching into his lunch bag and pulling out a musubi. And I said, I want to be like that musubi man. And that's Warren Furutani, a public servant also who has been elected to numerous public offices and of course now serves in the state assembly as an assembly person from the 55th district. So welcome, Warren. We have the sons of Warren and Lisa. Their oldest son, Sei, is 25. Sei, raise your hand. Is currently a graduate student at Cal State University Long Beach in sports management and hopes to become an athletic director someday. And their second son, Joey, is 23 years old, graduated from UCLA, is presently an account coordinator at Nakatomi and Associates. And I was motivated to moderate this panel because of an essay that Joey wrote. Joey wrote an essay for one of his classes at UCLA where it talked about identity and who he was as a Japanese American and how his family had influenced that, but how history had brought his family together. So let's jump right into it, and I'm going to start with you, Joey. If you can talk a little bit about what it means to be a part of this family, and in your mind, how did history bring your family together?
Mitch, I think you're referring to the essay I wrote from Glenn Omatsu's class. I think it was spring 2006, and it was about civil rights movements. And the instructions basically asked us what our intersection with history was. And it kind of plays into this theme of this discussion we're having. And from every generation of our family, starting with my grandmother, Aiko, we've all intersected in major parts of American history, but especially Japanese American history. And I basically talked about the incarceration of my grandparents in Manzanares, West Jerome on my father's side, and then as well as my parents' involvement in the civil rights movement. And then all the way down to my brother and I, and how we were a part of the Japanese American baseball and basketball leagues, and when we're older, that's going to be another milestone in Japanese American history. And it it just shows how much our history is in line with American history and Japanese American history, but how important it is all at the same time.
Your grandparents met in camp.
Yes. I think on my father's side, yes.
So, in a way, one could say if the camps hadn't happened in the way that they did, you may not be sitting here today, at least.
Exactly.